Oh, Naruto. I remember first being exposed to the series as the Chunin exam arc was first airing in the United States. If your middle school Saturday nights didn't involve watching Naruto on Cartoon Network at 9 p.m., then you totally missed out. I continued to follow Naruto even as it limped into its ending. It was sad to see such a serious decline in quality as the series progressed. But come with me to a simpler time. We are going back to 2008 with Naruto Ultimate Ninja Storm. Yeah, you guys heard me right. 2008. This game is almost 10 years old, but man, have the visuals and animations not aged a day. Seriously, look at this footage in the background. It's not cherry-picked at all. Flip around through YouTube and look at any fight in this game with any set of characters, and it just looks like the anime brought to life. Now, one thing to note is that I'm reviewing the PC version of this game, and it's important to mention that there are some technical problems that a lot of people are experiencing with this version of the game, myself included. When I first played the game, I was experiencing some serious frame drops when I was utilizing the game's VSync and anti-aliasing options. But once I forced these options through my graphics card instead of through the game itself, I experienced none of the lag and had a completely smooth time playing from there on out. I highly recommend you do this if you're playing the PC version. With that out of the way, I guess the fighting is a good place to start, as it is what you'll spend most of your time doing in this 10-hour-long adventure. The fighting is without a doubt the game's strongest aspect, which you would hope would be the case in an anime fighter. The game controls just as fluidly as it looks, but pulling off these crazy moves you see on screen are probably a little easier than you expect. All the basic attacking is handled by a single button, with holding down directions on the analog stick providing variations of the same set of attacks. Outside of your basic attacks, you have throwing knives, consumable items like bombs, a grapple, and support characters. Your energy meter, chakra, can be consumed to augment some of these powers. A chakra-empowered basic attack will perform your character's ninjutsu. A chakra-empowered throwing knife will send out empowered throwing knives, and a chakra-empowered jump will send you flying forward with a high-speed dash. And of course, you can consume even more chakra to attempt an ultimate jutsu. These ultimate jutsu are, in a word, cinematic. It's clear why future games in the series toned down the length of these as the series trended a little closer to becoming a more conventional fighter, but these over-the-top special attacks did not overstay their welcome for me. Seeing each new character's ultimate jutsu was something I looked forward to, and man, they are a treat. While we're on the topic of characters, every character is super faithful to the anime the game is based on, and no two characters are identical. Each character can also function as one of your support fighters, which will augment the way you play. You can have up to 2 supporters, though this isn't the Marvel vs. Capcom style of supporter that you can swap out for, but instead, auxiliary attacks that you have at your disposal. Probably the biggest complaint that many will level at the combat is its simplicity. As stated previously, most of your attacking is going to be done on one button. But that's okay. Now clearly it depends on what you're looking to extract out of the game. If you've come looking for a robust anime fighter with a lot of depth, then definitely stay away. But clearly that's not what this game is trying to be. This game is a spectacle fighter. It's more of a medium for you to see your favorite Naruto characters come to life and interact than it is to be any competitive driven experience. And seriously guys, it succeeds at what it's setting out to do. It's simple yet exhilarating, and I'm never tired of watching the action unfold before me. If I had one complaint against the game's combat, it would be the substitution jutsu. Now there is a block button in the game, but everyone knows ninjas are way cooler than that. Instead, the substitution jutsu, an ability that every character in the game has, lets you instantly dodge the attack and appear behind your opponent. Visually, it's satisfying, and dodging your opponent's combo to follow up with your own really lets you turn around lost battles, but the problem lies in how it's performed. It's a timing-based challenge where you press the block button right as an attack is landed on you. But what was never clear to me throughout my entire playthrough was how this move is gated. It feels like it's running on some sort of invisible cooldown, but therein lies the problem. Since this cooldown is invisible, I ended up spamming the dodge button constantly in hopes that I would finally dodge every single time I was getting comboed. Something as simple as a visual indicator of this would completely fix the problem. Thankfully, this gets added in some of the game's sequels, but man, is it frustrating to cope with here. Now, what its sequels don't have are the game's open world section. Ah yes, walking around the Hidden Leaf Village, what's not to love? A whole lot, actually. Everything outside of the combat is where this game starts to fall apart. Naruto has something I like to call the Assassin's Creed problem. His speed and abilities are meant to traverse rooftops and streets at very high speeds, and that feels great, but the problem is when things get a little bit more granular and you attempt to make specific jumps. Naruto feels super floaty and slips around a lot more than he should. Also, this open world is completely void of anything to do. Seriously. There are these terrible side quests you can do, but calling them side quests is super generous because the game forces you to do them. The way the main story is structured is that taking on story missions requires mission XP. This mission XP can only be accumulated by doing side missions, which means it's impossible to just coast through the main story of Naruto and enjoy yourself. Instead, you essentially have to grind these side missions, which are completely uninteresting and not even voiced. The fighting side missions are usually okay, because at least they let you try playing the game's characters that otherwise you wouldn't in the main story. But unfortunately the game is filled with minigames that range from passable to absolutely terrible. And these minigames make up an uncomfortably large portion of the main quest. Specifically, these freaking tree minigames. There's one where you scale a giant tree by leaning from side to side and collecting speed-ups. There's another where you dash through the trees, also leaning from side to side, collecting speed-ups. Yeah, seriously, they're basically the same game, and I kid you not, I feel like I spent at least an hour of my playthrough running through these freaking trees. The amount of mission XP required to do the final fight of the game demands that you do every side quest made available to you in the main campaign. Seriously, what is the point of having them be side quests at that point? The game's boss battles also feel like a missed opportunity. They're huge in scope and extremely flashy, but sadly there's only 3 of them in the entire game, and they're basically the same fight just reskinned. Perhaps the biggest offender in how the game is structured is how it basically demands you use the open world. Although you select your side quests from a menu, you actually have to go to the respective person within the open world to begin the mission. Once you're done with a mission, side quest or otherwise, you get booted back out to the open world. While this may sound like no big deal, it is a serious pace breaker when you're doing a story quest, and clearly they boot you back out right before a big fight is about to go down, so you can watch Naruto cheer and see how much money you've acquired. You can actually buy some cool things with this money. You can collect figurines of all the characters that are animated with their different emotes, there's a music gallery, and Ultimate Jutsu movies. When all these things come together, you get what's called a diorama, which is a 3D representation of some of your favorite scenes that you can just watch. None of these are individually super substantial, but they're nice extras for fans. You'll also be collecting a lot of scrolls in your adventure. These scrolls are earned whenever you complete a mission, but the game doesn't just put them into your inventory. No. Instead, they get populated somewhere in the game's open world, and then you have to go collect them. What's worse is that they basically populate in the same couple of areas each time, so you're going to end up traversing the same paths over and over and over. And these scrolls aren't used for the aforementioned bonus content. No, instead these scrolls are the currency to unlock all of your character's special jutsu. There's also some trivially easy puzzles in the world, if you can call them that. Basically, you just pick up boxes and put them on switches. Yeah, that's basically it. Every part of this system just feels like the devs wanted to get value out of the open world that they created, but boy am I glad that the system got nixed in future titles. Now I'm sure there's going to be some of you out there who enjoy running around the Hidden Leaf, but unless you're an absolute mega fan, you aren't going to find much to love. What is to love is the game's roster. It comes in at around 25 playable characters, each of which can also be used as a support character. There are also 10 support exclusive characters. Now while 25 might not seem like a whole lot, the level of visual fidelity that each of them meet makes it well worth it. Now the game does feature dual audio for you anime purists out there, but for those who aren't familiar with Naruto, it does have a competent dub, so don't feel forced to use this feature. Sadly though, the voice actors from the show lend their talents here, the music doesn't make its way over with them. The game has a decent OST, but seriously nothing's gonna beat the original. For those Naruto fans out there, you should know that this game covers the beginning of the series up until the Naruto vs Sasuke arc. For non-fans out there, that's about the first 100 episodes of the anime, which brings you right before the time skip, except for filler. The story mode does a passable job telling the story of the anime, but obviously this is no supplement to the real thing. Cutscenes are sparse, and instead most of the story is driven forward by dialogue sections between characters. The game is also sparse on modes, with basically just a free battle option and the story mode. Now, I can empathize with developers as far as content creep goes. It seems that with fighting games, especially, there's this expectation that every game have a ludicrous amount of extra modes. And while I don't think you need to do anything that extreme, an arcade mode or something would have been nice here. Although it may seem like I spent most of the review talking about all the things I didn't like about the game, what I did like, I liked so much. The good outweighs the bad in my opinion, and the game is an absolutely beautiful translation of the anime to video game. If only One Piece gets the same treatment one day.